Welcome to this Yin Yoga session. What you will need for this class will be 2 blocks and a bolster. I don't have a bolster with me, so I'm going to use the 2 blocks for everything. So if you're in the same situation, that's fine. Otherwise, bring the bolster if you have it. And I also have with me a small rolled up towel, but a small cushion or something about this thickness will do. Okay, this will be a full body opening. So get your props and we can begin. And we're going to start today with some breathing. So for the moment, just put the blocks and your bolster aside and grab your rolled up towel or cushion and place it at the top of the mat. And then come all the way down onto your belly in what's called crocodile pose. So on the belly, and then allow the feet to turn out. It might feel a little awkward at first, but this is just to get into position to breathe into the back, which is what we're going to do. So come all the way down onto the belly. Have the elbows bent and the hands together. And the cushion or your blanket is basically just there to rest the forehead down so that you can relax in this position. And I want you to begin to bring your attention to all the contact points you have to earth. And begin to deepen the breath here. So usually when we deepen our breath, we always think about breathing into the belly. But here the belly is restricted by the floor. So the expansion on a very deep inhale, instead of feeling it in the belly, I want you to focus on the expansion happening now into the back, the sides of the waist, the sacrum. Because we never think about breathing into our backs. And in the lower back, this is where the kidneys and adrenals are located. It's a super important part of our body for detoxification and hormone balancing. So just as you breathe, especially on the inhalation, really focus on the sense of expansion that happens in the lower spine, the sides of the waist, the sacrum. So inhale deeply into that area of the body. And as you exhale, just allow the body to ground and sink and melt through all the contact points. From the palms of the hands, forearms, elbows, to the diaphragm, stomach, belly, chest, pubic bone, tops of the thighs, and the inner edges of your feet. And even the forehead, even though that's resting on a cushion or a towel, just let the body melt on the exhale through all these points. Breathe deeply into that space in the lower back, waist, sacrum. And then gently release the breath, slowly empty the breath out. So get into a rhythm of your own very deep, slow breath. Expansion and space into lower back, waist, sacrum. The rising up of that part of the body. Expanding outwards. And then that beautiful sinking, giving in. Full body to earth. Relax through the neck, relax through the shoulders.
And I want you to think about or have in your mind's eye the image of a jellyfish floating in the ocean. See how soft its movement is. Gentle, pulsing, opening up, closing down. It looks effortless. So having that image in your mind, I want you to take the feeling that you get when you look at that and have that feeling in your lower back, sides of the waist and sacrum as you breathe. So in your own body, the ocean is your breath. And the jellyfish is your lower back, the sides of your waist, your sacrum. A gentle pulsing, slow and soft expansion, contraction. Fluid. So I'm going to leave you in silence to breathe like this for another minute or so. Taking one more breath. Breathe it all the way in. Expand the sides of the waist, sacrum, lower back. And then let it all go through the nose, empty and ground and release. Okay, so now just gently lift up the head. You can keep your cushion or your block there if you want to. And just bring out the right arm at 90 degrees to the body. And make sure you just change the position of the feet. Let them rest at the top so the feet bring them a little bit closer together. Palm is facing down. And we're going to roll over onto the right side of the body to open the right shoulder joint. So use your left hand to help you. And just roll over. And bringing your legs into whatever position is comfortable. And you can rest your head in the cushion that's already there. And your legs can literally be any position where you feel comfortable to stay here for a few minutes. Knees can be together or separated. And those of you that want to take the left hand back behind you and rest it against the sacrum or rest against the floor, do that. Get a little bit extra from that. And if you want even more deepening, those of you that feel like you have a little bit more space, you can step the left foot back behind you and separate the knees. And then you get a little bit more pressure into the right shoulder joint. And once you're in position, just softly bring all your attention to your breath. Nice, long, conscious breath. And you can send the inhalation into the right shoulder joint, the right side of the chest. And as you exhale, you can just use that breath as a signal to the body to soften. Softening in the face, softening in the back, softening in the legs. But use the inhalation to breathe space into the right shoulder joint, the right side of the chest. This is where we are focused with this posture. This is where we feel it most intensely. And then just get into a rhythm with your conscious breath. Closing the eyes and just letting yourself be here. Directing the inhale to the right shoulder and right side of the chest. Softening on the exhale. Taking one more breath. Breathe it all the way out. And then if your hand is behind your back, just bring it forward again. If your knees are apart, bring them together. And then slowly straighten out the legs, turning back onto the belly. And finding a position for your arms which allows you the most release. You can again place your forehead on the cushion or towel and have your arms forward, reaching forward. Or you can have your arms reaching back. Whichever gives you the most release, or elbows can be bent, hands together. Take a few breaths here. Ground through the belly. And just allow the right shoulder to process. Taking one more breath. And then this time, left arm out to the side. Make sure it's at 90 degrees, palm facing down to the floor. Same thing again. So using the right hand, push yourself over to the left side of the body. Finding a position for the legs, which allows you to relax and be still. And giving your body a little time to adjust. Now you know that when you first go into the position, you really feel it, but over the length of the hold, that sensation dies down as the shoulder releases. So again, mirror what you did on the other side. So if you want more, you can just take the right hand behind the back as the first step. And the second step to go a little deeper is to separate the knees, stepping the right foot back behind. And relaxing the body, coming to the breath. And just be with the sensations that are occurring now. And just see if you can focus on the breath. Let the breath lead the mind to allow the body to be here without too much going off in the head. See if you can bring the breath forward. Focus on the length of the inhale and the sense of space that you breathe into that left shoulder and left side of the chest as you breathe in. And then exhaling, softening mind and body. Let go. And bringing in once again the focus to the expansion and space of the inhale. And then that beautiful release through the whole body as you breathe out. Noticing already that maybe the shift in focus has allowed the sensations to be more bearable. So keep the attention focused on expanding, opening, spacious feeling in the left shoulder joint, left side of the chest. Softening the face as you breathe out. Softening the arms, the torso, the legs. Just getting into a rhythm, breathing like that. Directing the breath. Slow and deep. Taking one more breath. And then if your right arm is behind you, bring it forward. If your knees are separated, bring them together. And very slowly, gently, straighten out the legs. Roll onto the belly. Rest the forehead down, and again take a position with the arms where it gives you the most release, either forward, back, or with elbows bent. And lie here, grounding through the belly. Take a few breaths and allow the left shoulder to process. Taking one more breath. And then slowly lifting the head up. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Gently pushing yourself up through tabletop. Bring the knees in. And come up into a seat. Grabbing your bolster if you have one. And maybe a block. I'm going to just grab these 2 blocks here. And taking a wide-legged seat. And if in this wide-legged seat you feel like your hips are rolling back, you need to sit on something and elevate the hips so you can neutralize the spine. So either sitting on a block or 2, depending, just slide it under the sit bones and see if that's enough for you to neutralize the lower back. But if you are wide-legged and it's fine and you have a straight spine, then you don't need to sit on anything. And then those of you with bolsters, you can grab your bolster and place it. I'm just going to pretend that these 2 blocks are a bolster. And you can either lean it into the chest as you come forward, or you can lie your bolster all the way down and use it to support the torso as you fold forward. Okay, but before we go there, take a deep inhale, lengthen through the spine, nice tall spine. Toes and knees are pointing up, feet are relaxed as you exhale slowly with the breath, with your exhalation, bringing yourself all the way down onto your bolster, whether it's standing up and you're just hugging it, or whether you're leaning your chest into it, or whether you're supporting your torso on it. Come down. Closing your eyes when you get there. Coming to the breath and really feeling this beautiful stretch in the inner thighs. Try and resist rounding the spine, even with the use of a bolster. Because what you want to feel very much is the inner hips and the inner thighs opening, stretching. It can feel intense because with this particular pose, we are doing the opposite of what we do every day. So this is countering habitual posture. So you really want to maximize this stretch as much as possible. So if we round our backs, we take the stretch away. So you can even do it now and see. So what instead you want, instead of rounding the back, you almost want a back bend feeling in this particular pose. It's called dragonfly in the yin practice. And it's about
the frontal hip points, so the two hip bones that stick out in the front, you want to kind of roll those towards the floor. So the lower belly towards the floor, so it gives you that back bend feeling, because when you do that, you're tilting the hips forward. The lower back lengthens, the tailbone points up and back. And that's the action that you really want in this stretch. So with that action in the pelvic girdle, use the bolster or the blocks to help you stay there, wherever that is. Come to the breath. Relax the feet, soften the face, soften the shoulders. And once again, through the breath, encouraging the body to relax into the stretch, giving the body the chance to give in to the pose as you deal with taking your focus away from whatever it is you might be thinking and going fully into the length and depth of your breath. And I always encourage attuning into the nature of the inhale, which for me is always about expansion. Whenever I breathe in, I feel a huge sense of space entering my body, entering my mind. So see if you feel that too as you breathe in, and allow it to infuse the whole body, maybe especially the inner hips and the inner thighs. And then the exhale is always this beautiful giving in, this melting, this sinking, this releasing, this letting go, this downward flow of energy towards earth. And with the breath, we are listening. Listening with every breath to the body's feedback signals. Waiting without waiting for the body to unfold in its own time as we work with it, using the breath and our full awareness. So that we never miss that invitation from the body that says, I can go a little deeper. Reaching a new normal. So let's listen now. Get into a rhythm of the breath. Breathe in space and listen.
Taking one more breath. And then slowly inhaling to walk yourself back, and now you can round the spine. So you can round the spine gently as you come up, releasing the stretch from the inner thighs. Rolling yourself all the way up to a neutral spine. Breathing out when you get there. And then gently helping one knee up first. Bring the foot to the front. Bring the other knee up. And having the feet as wider than the hips, take the hands back behind you and just gently wipe the knees side to side. And when you get there, just give the top hip a little extra push up so you get a nice twist in the spine as well. And then just windshield wipe at your own pace, taking your time. Give that little squeeze of the top hip every time. Okay, make sure you even yourself out. Equal times both sides. And coming back into a seat, bringing the soles of the feet together, making sure that your ankles are cushioned either on the mat or on a cushion so that the ankle bones don't become painful during the course of this one. And once again, if you have a bolster, you can use it. You can lie it here or you can stand it up to support your body in whatever way is appropriate for you. And we're just going to fold forward. If you only have blocks, you can also use the blocks. Kind of stack them on top of each other to the height you need to rest the forehead on. Okay, so just have them ready. Those of you with bolsters, you can already have them lying in place. And as always, before we go in, we take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. And then as we exhale, gently, with full breath awareness, breathing out, softening the body into your full expression. Those of you that don't want to use props and you just want to let the head hang, you can do that. It's completely up to you. Otherwise, get your props, rest your body on the props. Coming into observing the breath, being with the breath. This works on the outer hips. And curling in on ourselves, we can go inwards with our gaze, so fully being with every single breath that you breathe. And again, that listening in the silence, waiting for the body to release in its own time. And here, as we breathe, you can breathe space into the entire back body, so from the sacrum all the way up to the back of the head, shoulder blades moving apart. As you breathe in, that rising expansion going outwards, out through the back. And then, as always, the exhalation is a full body giving in, surrender, full weight of the body to earth. And if at any point you want to slide 2 blocks underneath the thighs, please do that, so that the legs can truly, fully relax down. coming into the breath. Breathing space into the back body. And feeling a sinking through the hips. Contact points as you breathe out. Shoulder blades moving apart, spine stretching, sacrum lowering, waist expanding as you breathe in. And then ground, contact points, breathing out. Find your rhythm. If you feel the invitation to go a little deeper, you can take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you can adjust yourself. But only if the body is inviting you to go there. Otherwise, stay where you are. Continue with the breath. Taking one more breath. And then slowly rolling up the spine. Roll the hands back towards yourself. Rolling all the way up to a nice tall spine. Breathing out when you get there, through the nose. And then very gently straighten out the legs. Our next pose will be on the back. So if you don't have a bolster, you're going to be using 2 blocks. If you do have a bolster, you're going to lie the bolster across the mat at 90 degrees to the mat. And you can take your cushion or a block, if you're using a bolster, beyond the block. That will be for the head to rest on when you come down. Now, this is going to be a heart opener, supported back bend. So turn your back to your bolster. And when you come down, you really want the blocks or the bolster to support the shoulder blades, which means that when you come down, your shoulders should go past the edges of the block like this, or at least over the bolster. So you really get this open chest feeling. The rib cage should be sticking out, and the block or the cushion behind should be for the head to rest on, if you don't like to be too upside down when you're in this position. And the arms can be over the head with the elbows bent, like in a kind of cactus shape. The legs can be straight. Those of you that want to continue working into the hips, you can bring the soles of the feet together in butterfly with the legs. But if cactus arms is too much for you right now, you can just have the hands beside you, arms beside you, or out wide. And this should feel really beautiful. All the soft parts of our body that we normally keep closed down and protected is now completely open, even the armpits. So the throat, the heart center, the diaphragm, the stomach, the low belly, the pubic bone, the inner thighs, inner calves, inner ankles, the arches of our feet, everything, the inner wrist, inner elbows, armpits, everything is open. So sending your inhalation, that beautiful, spacious expansion into the normally closed down parts of our body, all the soft parts. Breathe space into it. Feel everything rising up to be seen. Feel yourself opening up to receive. Vulnerable and fearless at the same time. Vulnerable to show the soft parts, and fearless to show it. If that brings a smile to your face, it certainly does for me. Smile and breathe even more space into these exposed parts. And then allow yourself to ground again through all contact points.
There should be really a sense of joy here as you breathe in. And if not joy, then at least a release and opening. Coming to your breath, find your rhythm. Taking one more breath. And then just bend the knees. And see if you can slowly just roll off the side of the bolster. See if you can just push your props back away a little bit and you can come down onto the side of the body.
resting head on your arm, drawing the knees up to the chest so you neutralize the spine. And just staying here for a moment. And then using your next couple of breaths to slowly come back up into a seat. And turning so you can just tidy up the props away for a minute. Put the balls to one side, blocks to one side, but just keep one block handy. Come onto the back. Knees are bent for now. And with your one block, you're going to pick up the hips and slide the block underneath the sacrum. So make sure that it's actually your sacrum that you're supporting with the block. And you should, if you pull the body down a little bit, you'll feel this amazing lengthening in the lower back because you're pulling sacrum down on the block and you feel this beautiful stretch in the lower spine with the knees bent. And if that feels really good, you can drop the arms, bring the palms up to the sky and just stay here, stretching out the lower back. This is a beautiful, beautiful feeling. You can totally relax here. Or option 2 is that you keep that pulling sensation down, but then you just straighten out. You straighten out the legs. And there's a little bit more compression, but you're working on opening the frontal hips and the quads and the thighs, front side body opening from the lower part all the way down the legs this time. So whichever option you prefer, option 1 or 2, knees bent, just working on stretching the spine, or option 2, legs straight, opening front side body from the frontal hip points and down. You choose. And there you stay, coming into the breath. And how you direct the breath here, I will leave that completely up to you. Maybe you just focus on the length of the inhale and exhale being the same. Or maybe there's a part of your body that you really want to breathe into, in which case go there. Use that breath. And then just drop into the pose, drop into the breath. Taking one more breath. And then if your legs are straight, begin to bend them at the knees, bringing the feet to the mat. And then everyone pick up the hips, put the block to one side. Within easy reach, hug the knees into the chest. Take a gentle rock side to side. And I really love what I call an upside down child's pose, which is widening out the knees, relaxing the legs, and just using the hands and to hold them in place, elbows resting. So the sacrum is really nice and flat against the floor. If that feels good, go here, or you can take a happy baby. Grabbing outer edges of the feet, again, knees to the armpits. Sacrum nice and flat. So you can choose once again which position you want to be in, and just hold it here. Stay with the conscious breath. And then take one more breath here. And then bringing the knees back together again a little bit, placing the feet back onto the floor, grabbing your block once again. You want to take it underneath the head, but you want to aim to get the edge of the block under the occipital bone, the big bone that joins the neck to the skull, and play with the height of the block. Sometimes you want it on the lowest height. For me, I need it on the middle height. And what I tend to do is I get the block right underneath the occipital bone, and I take my body down a little bit. So what you want is a deep stretch in the back of the neck and a chin to chest feeling. You will know it when you get it. So if you look at how my occipital bone is pushing against the edge of the block, and I get this chin to chest feeling, not because I'm doing anything, but because the block is stretching my neck in that position. It feels really good. And you can either keep the knees bent here if your spine needs to be more neutral, or you can straighten out the legs. Again, you choose. And just staying here for a minute or so. Turn the palms up, arms beside you. Still present through the breath. Taking one more breath. And then just gently taking the block out from under the head. Put it to one side. Bring the knees back up one last time. Take the soles of the feet to the edges of the mat. Arms out to the side. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, just drop the knees over to the right for a very gentle twist. And if that's not enough of a twist for you, you can stack your knees on top of each other. And just stay here for a few breaths. One more breath. And then inhale, knees back up to center. And exhale, just let them fall to the left. And again, if you want more, stack the knees on top of each other. Take a few breaths, still conscious, still deep and present. One last breath. And then slowly inhale, bring the knees all the way back up to center. One last hug as you exhale, knees to chest. And then another little squeeze as you inhale. And then exhale, slowly bring your whole body all the way down to the mat. Arms out, feet out, palms up. Let go of your conscious breath. Coming into your final resting pose of Shavasana. Feel the whole back body sink. And feeling this open spaciousness in the body from the practice. Everything is slow and quiet and still and balanced. No effort left in breath or body. Coming into your rest now, staying in Shavasana for as long as you want. From me now, thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.